The Chronicle of the Crowns, our new Burning Wheel game. First session, we're running a bit short on time, but we'll get the ball rolling. We'll take it slow. We're basically starting from square one. I've ran campaigns before, but it's been a couple of years since the last time, and I don't have everything in my freshest memory at the moment, and we have not a great amount of experience put together between us when it comes to Burning Wheel. And therefore, we're going to take it slow. It's going to be a learning experience for all of us. And we'll dive right into it. So I think I'll read the blurb here that we have for the setting to give us the opening scroll, unless anyone opposes. And then we'll jump into the action. So, long ago, the three peoples of the continent came into possession of 3 crowns invested with tremendous power. These peoples had been long struggling against the power of the darkness, and to turn their losing struggle into a triumph, they crafted a grand plan against the dark. The most worthy representative of each people would wear one of these mighty crowns, and invoking the power of all 3, would sacrifice one of their number in a great fiery ritual to cast the dark away from what would become their respective ancestral lands in the following ages. The peoples of the Crown lands existed in relative harmony, and as the great grand ritual protected their land from the influence of the dark, required that the 3 crown bearers sacrifice for the common good. But 4 centuries ago, the human crown bearer succumbed to old age. In the process of bringing the remains of their deceased to the royal catacombs, the crown still on the brow of the corpse, the royal escort and knightly vanguard was waylaid and slain. The mighty crown was lost. The knights serving the royal household mounted a vast campaign to find the crown and redeem themselves, but upon discovering a lead, they and their allies were drawn into a doomed battle and were laid low. A curse was said to be upon the human realm, and for the next decades, the once grand capital in the northern reaches was gradually abandoned. The realm splintered into dozens of kingdoms, princedoms, and various domains claimed by anyone with enough support, sword, or coin. These new realms grew, but none reached the heights of power of the old High Kingdom. The rites that safeguarded the lands could no longer be performed with the loss of one of the 3 crowns, and the influence of and the minions of the dark began seeping into the former crown lands, beginning a new age of strife. Knowledge of the true crown turned into dogma, which turned into myth, and the myths were declared heresy by an ascendant religious order called the Covenant of the First Flame, that communes with spirits and the gods and claims a divine mandate to guide the people. The so-called Dark Watchers, a decrepit remnant of an order sworn to strive against the dark, have learned leaned on half-forgotten promises of fealty and alliance to round up what might be the last recruits they will ever have, and are sending these recruits to the far northern border region, whose ruler has let it be known that they have information on the lost crown of power. And so we fade in. It is a scene of bright and dark colors as autumn is coming to an end in the north of the continent. And our 3 heroes are traveling on a road, poorly maintained, not in heavy use as you would have in your homelands. It is not paved. It is not necessarily a mud, sludge covered pathway, but it is far from the glory of paved roads and the sort of splendor in your ancestral lands, as this is indeed what used to be the borderlands, but which is just now another piece of human domain, and it is regarded as a place of lawlessness, but order still appears in the form of societal structures. There is a local lord called Barrick, who you've been told apparently has some rumors about the lost crown of power. And you're rapidly approaching the currently closed gates of Lord Barrick's town of Strathfell. You see the torches burning as evening creeps in. They're lighting up whatever lights they can in Strathfell, and there are 2 guards standing on the fortifications, which are wood mostly. It is not a grandiose town by any means, but it is a fortified town. What do you do? And let's go in order here, like a short introduction, I would suggest. So first in my queue here is Glarvier.
Okay, so Glovier is a swaggering old dwarf, long ringleted, grey beard. He has a loud, booming voice, and as with many of his kind, he's a great believer in oaths and cleaving to your truth and your honour, despite the fact that as someone who casts the runes, he's seen as something of an outcast and something of an oddball in the otherwise rigid society of the dwarves. However, he's been sent by a sort of a lesser prince of the dwarves known as Thraduk, who he has an oath of fealty to investigate and aid in this quest, which, although he knows that he's only really being sent as a sort of token gesture because like the actual important dwarves have got better things to do, he still feels obligated to do so because of his oath, and without cleaving to such oaths, dwarven society would be nothing.
And next one is Cameron Redwin.
Yeah, Cameron Wedwin. He's quite a built human, not quite as well armed as his companions. Got a bit of leather, cloak on, traveling boots, distinctive white, messy hair, and unusual eyes. And anyone who encounters him can see that he's always walking with a white fox companion who shares a eye resemblance. He is and will always tell you, one of the Dark Watchers, an organization that, for as long as history has been written in this place, has done its best to hold back the evil forces of this world. He's been sent to investigate Lord Barrick's claims about news of the crown that was lost some time ago. He's a relatively new member. He's been on the road for several years, for reasons he's a little reluctant to talk about, but he's getting to know his travel companions. He is known to be knowledgeable of many forbidden arts, and he is curious of the journey ahead, and he is in very interesting company.
And last, we have Toriel.
Toriel is an elf prince from one of the many princedoms and kingdoms that exist in the elven ancestral lands and the crown lands. He formerly was a ranger, but settled down, took up a princedom along the border of his nation, and so he's keenly aware of the problems that are plaguing the human lands and how the darkness is creeping in ways that most elves perhaps don't expect. So when the Dark Watchers approached the Elven Kingdoms with their old treaties and asked for help, he was keen to take them up on it, and so was able to convince his etharch, which is the leader of his nation, Slendra, to send him as the representative of the elves, essentially on this little mission. As you might expect, he's tall, statuesque, beautiful elf male, long white blonde hair, piercing blue eyes, long ears. So there's no mistaking that he's an elf. He's dressed in fairly fine clothes by human standards, although by our standards, it's simply just our traveling outfit. Long cloak, regal steed, and his arms and equipment otherwise are very simple, basic, except for one item, which is his bow, which is clearly of a make and model forged by the elves themselves. And so it stands out amongst his equipment. And he's very keen to speak with this Barrick, because as a border prince of his own nation, he can perhaps empathize and is curious if he's actually telling the truth or not. So,
Yes. So, as I was saying before, I sidetracked myself. we're indeed at the gates of Barrick's town of Strathfell, and behind the town, in the waning sunlight of the evening, you can see painted in very lurid colors the mountains in the distance, and there's the great river, which comes down from said mountains and flows through quite a bit of the continent, many realms. And this is where it gathers. The meltwater from the mountains is the thing that makes the river go, for the most part. And you've had quite the easy time getting here because you followed the river, because you knew that the town of Strathfell was straddling the river. And you can see there's a couple of bridges spanning the river, which is quite wide here in the sort of lowlands. You're not quite yet in the foothills of the mountains, but yeah. So Strathfell is built on the river and on each side, and there's a couple of bridges that cross it. You're on the eastern side of the river, and you're facing this wooden palisade wall, gates. There's the guards with torches, lamps up at the top.
I like to imagine that as we've been travelling, I'm probably on the back of Toriel's horse, like behind him, because I'm fairly like slow when it comes to like the travelling. And as we're sort of approaching the wall, I'll be sort of like, well, Toriel, I can't say if this is the best that the humans have to offer. I can't say I'm surprised that the shadows are creeping in. Why, give me 2 strong units of bannermen in my prime, and I could have taken this place with nary a wisp of resistance.
in all honesty, my friend, I believe I could take the whole town myself by the end of the evening, but let's not test that. We're here to make friends.
Indeed.
This is but a small town, my friends. This is but a small... You come to the cities and you see what the work that we have done.
Armour is only as strong as its weakest link, my friend.
I suppose we should give them some wiggle room there, Glarvier. This is not part of our crown lands. This is outside
Indeed.
borders.
Indeed. And besides, my military days are long behind me.
Well, let's hope you still have some fight left in you, my friend. We
have no fear
will
on
need it
that.
Before the end.
Have no fear on
never
that.
leave you.
Indeed. Well, I believe as the resident human of our little gang, Cameron, would you like to speak with the guards and get us admission into this fair town?
Happy to. I'm sure the Dark Watchers have made them aware
Are you
of our
sure
coming.
you should be saying in every town you go
I
to?
insist. It's important. The name has
I understand and all, but
fallen into antiquity. It needs to be
this
brought back. It needs to be
it's supposed to be a
remembered.
clandestine operation.
The bell must be rung out across the land.
When needed.
I like to think while they're having this debate, I'll just be like, Ho there, guards! We are here to see Lord Barrick.
Right, so you hear one of the shots like, "Come a little bit closer, so we can see who you are. You just get over here."
I don't know if we should do that. I mean, they're probably not very good shots, but they probably do have bows or crossbows on the palisade.
Yes, however, it's going to be very difficult to negotiate with them if we have to do so from a distance.
All right, very well, but could you maybe get off my horse then, Glarvier? I need room to maneuver.
Yes, give me a moment.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go, girl. That's okay. I know he's a big, heavy, stinky dwarf, but he's our friend, remember? Yes. Yes.
What do you mean, stinky? I bathed last week.
You smell of beer and piss all the time, Glarvier.
Intoxicating, isn't it?
So, Cameron's just, as we're approaching the gate, he's trying to recall what he knows about Barrick. Like, is he a particularly famous lord? Is there something he's known for, like a battle or a banner or anything like that?
No, this was we could start opening up a wise skill for you. Is that something you want to do? Basically noble wise if you don't have it.
I mean, I might have. I've got a lot of things on this sheet.
Promise and apocalypse.
I have banner wise. If I might know
is
this.
He
banner.
A member of the apocalypse?
Oh yeah, banner is a good shout. However, Matthew, if you do want to get on with some noble wise, we can start doing that. So I'm gonna put this here.
I do have fealty wise, so obviously the Borderlands acts differently than the Crownlands, but if he owed fealty to anyone above his station,
I'll give that to you for free. You know that he's the authority. He doesn't have a
gotcha. So this is like freeholding lord, basically.
He's the master.
He's the dude.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
I'm just trying to think if anything that might aid in our discussion with him, or something that could be useful if he's not.
Well, knowing he's the man does help.
If he's truthful, if he's a ambitious lord, like those sort of things, and anything I might know. Would I have to make a roll for this? Or is this just...
So I put down a skill on your being learned list, and I believe that the sheet is good enough to do what we needed to if you click on the die there.
So I make the first roll in the game. Wow.
Yes.
This
yes.
Feels like
thinking about.
I'm crossing the.
So give me something specific about him. Like what are you trying to recall? Like his deeds
I want to know what he's most famous for. Like
for. Okay.
Like did he win a battle? Is he really ambitious? Is he like known for ambition? That kind of thing?
It's good. It's good. The most famous thing about him.
Yeah.
And it's going to be obstacle 1, I think, because that would be the thing that everyone knows about him if they know about him at all. So.
Okay. So helping advantage is 0. I'm guessing there's nothing.
Yes.
Okay. Arthur dice. That's my choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
That yet. Base obstacle 1.
Yep.
Okay. Let's do it, guys. Additional, nothing.
Yep.
Let's have a look.
You did it.
I did the thing.
You did the thing. Okay. So.
And that is the last good roll Matthew will have this entire session.
For the rest of the game.
So the most famous thing that what he's most famous for is that he has never been in open conflict with anyone around here, and that's no mean feat.
Good.
He has great prowess when it comes to dealing with trade, basically. Like he's somehow managed to finagle himself to a position where he hasn't had to have an actual war in living memory. So
I'll relay this to the party as well, because obviously Toriel was a border noble, so he might have dealt with his people from time to time.
Well, by all means, if this Lord Barrick is as honourable and as diplomatic as you say, let us move closer as the guards instructed, that we may treat with him and progress on our glorious quest.
My eyes are very, very, very good. Like, even though it's getting dark, I mean,
Mhm.
it's nothing to me as an elf.
Mhm.
So can I see who's on the palisade and
Yeah,
what they might be look like, what they're armed with, that sort of thing?
yeah. So yeah, it's not dark at all. There's still sun in the sky.
Yeah.
It's that like autumn when the sun is all orange and red, and so
Right.
are the trees everywhere. So everything's just
Picturesque.
red.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone can clearly see there's folks up on the battlements. They've got like very simple gambeson, cloth, tabard on. There's the flag of presumably Lord Barrick, and
What's his flag look like? Do we know? What's his standard?
it's a very simple shield, like an emblem of a shield with what looks like you'd take it to be like a river motive, which it's he lives in the river town.
Yeah, he's a river warlord.
Yeah. So it's a very simple motive, just a river splashing, and that's it.
That tells me he's not very ostentatious, which is interesting.
The guards dressed in simple gambeson. They've got metal simple helmets on. They've got spears. You can see there's a couple of bows, and there's maybe like a standing sort of communal quiver of arrows somewhere, just like a thing with just like 40 arrows in it, and they've got torches.
I'm unimpressed.
Yeah, it's let me put it this way. It looks like a very well prepared human border settlement that could take on, the usual, like if bandits come out of the forest, they'll give it a good, run. Like it's not going to be a case of like, oh, the bandits came and took all our stuff. No.
If I put a bow in my son's hand, he'd probably give him a hard time at this point. And
if the bandits brought some equipment, it might be even the field a little bit here, but they're prepared to, like, they look like they should be here. Like they've got everything they need to survive around this part, but it's nothing fancy.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but my plan is to as I've got off Toriel's horse, with my hands empty apart from like the sort of flagon of ale that is ever present in one of my hands, I'm going to walk forward with my other hand open, show that I've not got weapons drawn or anything, and I'm just going to move forward as they've requested. They've been perfectly polite to us so far. I don't see any reason not to.
I will stay several paces back on my steed. I will approach, but stay in the rear.
And also, I'm thinking if it did get, I'm not expecting it to, but if it did get a little bit tasty, then obviously my thing is I've sworn to protect my fellow members of the Fellowship from harm. So I'm sort of like putting myself forward. So if it did go south pretty quick, I'd be in the sort of position to like warn the others and maybe protect them.
Yep, good. One of the guards up at the top shouts, "You're traveling very late. Are you looking to stay the night?"
I sort of look around and seeing Cameron nodding. I say, "Yes, we are here to treat with Lord Barrick." I'm assuming we have like an appointment, effectively.
Well, he knows we're coming at the very least tonight, right?
Yeah, he sent word to the Dark Watchers that he has info, so presumably at least Barrick would be expecting. Yeah, so the guard just yells out like, "Do you bring trade?"
No, we're here at the invite of your lord for some information that may be of use to us. We come on behalf of the Dark Watchers.
We have been invited.
Yeah, sure. Let's open the gate. And they start, reeling up the open, rather, because they don't have a portcullis on it because it's a palisade wall. So they're shifting open the gates. And they're waving you in from the top.
Yeah,
let's go, Cyrodiil. Let's go. Yeah.
I'll follow through, tankard still in hand, sort of nodding as I head through, looking at the gates and the mechanisms and everything as I walk through.
There's a person with a spear waving at you once you enter, and it's like, Right, then, a couple of things here to deal with. So you want to talk to the Lord, okay? That's
Yes.
fine. You don't have trade goods. That's
No.
correct. No. Okay. Well, we don't just put people in the Lord's way. So the steward is going to have a word with you, and I suppose he'll take it from there. But yeah, you deal with the steward, and steward says you're okay to go, then he'll let you know about the Lord.
I quite understand there are matters of protocol that must be dealt with. I commend you for your efficiency.
That's the first.
If you can
Let's
control
go.
efficiency.
Close the gate. They start bringing the gates to a close, and you find yourselves inside Strathfell. It is a place that has apparently stood for quite a long time. Now that you're on the other side of the palisade, you can very clearly see that there's at least the remnants or the bases of a lot of these structures are actually stone. But it might be the case of usually there used to be stone structures here, but then they collapsed or whatever, and they rebuilt things mostly with wood. That's kind of the case here, and the wood here is very much, gray. It's weather beaten. These things have stood for quite a long time, and it looks very stripped down. In the case of like, there's not a lot of paint put on surfaces, that kind of thing. People mill about the last rays of the sun. They're wrapping up their day, coming in from outside if they were still doing something in the forest or if there's a field. Yeah, you're inside. There's quite a number of people living here, which is not a terrible surprise because it's a very safe location in the the wilderness. So people would gravitate here, and you get some glances, as you do. You've gotten used to that by now, traveling this far. People usually stare quite a bit, especially once you have Glarvier and Toriel in the same scene. But yeah, you're here. It's a sort of like the last bustle of the day, so there's quite a bit of traffic now that people are sort of wrapping up. And yeah, you've been told to go basically to the steward without much more advice. There's no steward that you can see waiting for you here. You're in just in the mick, the thoroughfare.
I say to Real, I don't suppose whilst we're waiting to speak to the steward of this place.
You mean the lackey? Yes.
Well, I was going to say a lieutenant, but as you will,
He should be here to greet another prince in person.
Well, I was going to say, do you think anyone would mind if we sloped off and had a quick drink whilst we were waiting?
Well, since they can't be bothered to greet us properly, I suppose we should.
You know,
Maybe they have some decent wine in this town.
I wouldn't bet on it, but
It's true.
I'll be able to work all that out. I have something in the know of that.
I trust you can work your
things.
normal magic. Yes, indeed.
But if nothing else, it will allow us to get more of a feel of this place and how it operates. If we're going to be here for some time anyway.
That's that charming human expression, finger on the pulse of the town.
So
Yes.
we're heading to what would be the tavern, I suppose?
Yeah, the nearest tavern.
Pretty much.
So,
soak a bit of local colour, find out what's going on.
You're sort of like, soaking the place up. So you can see very clearly as you turn the corner, and there's the actual main big thoroughfares are the two bridges and the road that connects to them, because you need to get across. And as you round the corner, you can see across the bridge properly. You can see on the western side is a sort of modest stone estate. It's built entirely from stone, It's like a fortified manor house type deal. Clearly the most impressive structure here, and thus probably a good bet for the location of the lord here. And you can also see it's on this side, so the eastern side. As you walk around a bit, you can see quite a familiar structure in construction. They're all kind of similar. There's probably some architectural, things going on there why they all look similar, but it is in fact a temple of the covenant of the first flame. It operates much like we would look at a church. There's a temple house. There's like people coming and going in for the last whatever they need for the day. You can see a couple of the covenant knights standing outside, just being impressive, watching over the people going in, coming out. And you can see the symbol of the covenant on the front of this structure, which is I want to say it's like a round structure for the most part. When they can make it round, they will, and this one is no exception. It's I want to say it's like 3 stories, maybe. It's like a small tower, but it's made from wood for the most part. It's like a wooden fort, like corner tower, really, but it's detached from the walls entirely. It's built for them. It's not the part of the fortifications.
Is it shaped sort of like how you might imagine, say, the Colosseum of Rome, or is it more like, does it have a rotunda and that's what rounds it out at the top, kind of sort of thing?
I want to say it's rather wide in its construction.
Yeah.
And it does have a bit of it doesn't have a dome at the top. It has
so like the Globe Theater almost, where it's a little
Yeah.
bit open on the inside.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of thing. Okay. Yep.
And so you've spotted the Covenant Temple over there. There's obviously the Lord's Manor is over there. Several businesses, as you would have around a frontier-ish established town like this. John?
I think I'm just going to hail like one of the locals who's like, going around doing their business. And again, because I can't say anything in like a quiet voice, I'm just going to be like, "Excuse me there. I'm sorry to bother you in your day's business. I can see that you're very busy, but tell me, sir, where might a thirsty traveller wash away the dirt of the long road in this place, if you know what I mean?"
He does have such a flair for the dramatic, doesn't he, Cameron?
Cameron's talking to the spirits.
I'm muted, aren't I? Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was just writing some notes. Yes, he is.
I've never met a dwarf that has such a sense for drama before. They're normally very stoic people.
He's probably been living up on the surface for too long.
Perhaps maybe it's the sunlight, like a rose coming into bloom, needing the light to reach its apex. I shall note that.
As you muse, and Glarvier gets up on this carpenter that was going up.
Yeah, and I'm because he's a craftsman. Obviously, dwarves very respectful of craftsmen. So obviously, I'm not like a big carpenter, but I've got basic like craftsman knowledge and whatever. So I'll just be making like general chit chat with him and not divulging all of why we're here, but saying like, we've travelled here, making a few comments about the stonework and whatever and the buildings, and I'll be saying, oh yeah, it's been like a long journey. Do we get some food and more importantly drink?
He gets on it immediately.
Liquid bread, my friend, liquid bread.
Yeah, he knows. You get the idea that travelers probably a fairly usual thing to happen around here. They're quite the stopping point.
It is a trade town, after all. Yeah.
Apparently, the Lord is very successful in making trade happen, so people come here to trade. So, it takes no time at all to get to the tavern with the carpenter's help. Bids you good day.
I'll ask. I'll obviously say, if he wants to. If he wants to like join us for a drink, he's welcome. But I appreciate if he's too busy. I've probably already detained him too long, and I don't want to keep him from his work.
Well, maybe just the one.
You'll be most welcome. Amongst my people, your people, master craftsmen such as yourselves are greatly honoured. It would be my honour to drink beside you, and I sort of like wave my sort of like flagon about, and I'll put it on for him like a swig.
He just waves about. Is like, I'm not really a master, but I'm name is Folkard.
Splendid. And I am Glarvier of the dwarven peoples. Sorry, what was your name again, sir?
Folkard.
Folkard. Splendid. Well then, Folkard, lead the way. Myself and my companions will follow, and we will drink to your good health.
And cue the tavern scene. There's local brew. It's a beer, and
is it good beer though?
Is it passable?
It's passable. It's nothing special really. I don't quite know how long it takes for cider, but they might have some cider because it's the end of autumn. They might have like early.
It might be just coming up as being ready to drink.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
But yeah, they just have the very bare bones.
Okay, well, assuming we're like fine to buy like drinks, etc. As we're getting the drinks in, I'll have a bit of a chat to like the barman or whatever about like what brews he's got on, and with my like beer appraisal and beer wise and all of that malarkey. If there's like when I taste the beer, if I'm like, oh, there's like a few little things they could do that like weren't too expensive to just like improve the beer a little bit, I'll just like in passing sort of mention and obviously reveal the fact that I'm like quite knowledgeable about beer, and I'll be like, do you know if you let your hops ferment a little bit longer, you could vastly improve the taste and how long your beer keeps for. Might save you a pretty penny in the long run. Just making general chit chat.
Yeah, you can get into all that discussion for sure.
I would have attempted to order something like wine or mead if they had it, and been utterly disgusted if they did not.
Yeah, they would have had mead. For sure.
Well, at least they have this. Oh, it's so thin.
Yeah, it's very piney.
Yeah, you can barely smell the honey. Ooh.
Yeah.
Probably a local brew.
It's truly, it smells like the forest.
It's like they put this cup against a tree and then then threw some water in there. I don't even know if I could drink this, but I am thirsty.
Well, if you should decide not to Toriel, slide it this way. I won't see see a brew go to waste.
Already. Remember, we are on duty.
I will join you in a mead.
I'm always on duty, Toriel.
Yes, indeed, you are.
In a quiet moment, I'm going to lean down as well to the white fox that is kind of not, maybe like half a foot from where I'm sitting, and just kind of whisper quietly, "Don't go too far. There may be hunting dogs around here. Keep out of trouble."
I can assure you there are absolutely dogs around here. They smell wet. Probably running around in the mud.
I thought that was just them doing some tanning or something.
No, they're doing that as well. That's a different smell entirely.
I like to imagine why you guys are having this like serious like hushed discussion about dogs and whatever. Glarvier's having like a rare old time like chatting to the carpenter, swigging his beer back, which, let's face it, compared to like dwarven ale, this is like drinking water. So he's quite happily knocking it back and not really being that affected by it. But he's chatting. He really seems in like his element here. It's like there's tradespeople and there's like carpenters and whatnot around. The beer's flowing. This is like where he wants to be, effectively. Whereas like you guys are having like these very serious discussions, and he's like just relaxing and like chatting to people in his typically like loud, bombastic manner. So like just getting on with people and like making friends with people and chatting.
So you spend a bit of time talking, tasting the brews. There is one of the guard, like there's a couple guards here drinking, but one more walks in at one point while you're going about your business, and basically beelines for your table, and like takes a helmet off and says, "So you were the last ones in. Take it for today."
Pretty much. You're muted, by the way, Toriel. Are you whispering?
I'm whispering sweet nothings into Cameron's ear. And I turn around to the guards, like, "Yes, we were. May we help you?"
Yeah, the steward is looking to have a word with you and is wondering why he's got to wait.
Because, dear friend, you are speaking to a prince, and none of you in this lovely establishment or town have shown proper deference.
I think I'll probably cut. I'm going to cut Toriel off there because I can see where this is going, and I'm just again in like my loud voice. I'm just going to go. Well, we've been travelling for an awfully long time. We didn't want to be speaking to someone of such stature with hoarse, dusty throats from the long ride, so we came here to refresh ourselves for a couple of minutes before we went to speak to him. We are, of course, ready at your earliest convenience.
Well, that's wonderful. And Toriel, have you actually drank your pine mead?
Oh, I sipped it. Was it any good, by the way? Or it tastes bad and smell?
It's it's.
Is it unique?
I'd say it is very unique in that it's got like that, like refreshing, like freshness of pine in it.
Then I will drown the words that I had for this guard with the rest of my cup.
I like to when Toriel's like drinking it and he's got that like slightly screwed up expression as he's forced himself to drink it. I'm just gonna
eyes on this guard, like I'm gonna like gut him.
I'm just gonna like catch your eye, so like raise my eyebrows, and I'm gonna like pat the like the barrel that I've got like strung over my shoulder that's like hanging in my waist.
Yeah, that'll be for later when you can wash this town out of my mouth.
Right. Well, I need to, go home. So, how about we make time? And he puts down a couple of coins on the table. It's like, drinks are on me. I just want to get this over with. There's no trouble here for me. I just need to get you to the steward.
Of course.
Very gracious of you. Thank you.
Lead on, sir. Lead on.
Indeed.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful to have sensible guests. It's what we look for here. He puts the helmet back on. It's like, yeah, follow me this way.
Yeah, I'll follow him.
We shall follow.
Yeah, and it is at a juncture, like he walks you down a street, and then there's a feature there of a large statue. You think it probably used to represent like a human woman, but it is very chipped, very worn down, headless entirely. There's an outstretched hand, which is also broken at the wrist, and it's like a square type thing. And you're led there by this guard, who then basically just like waves you towards three more guards and a person in fairly fine tunic and a hat with a why am I blanking on this? Peacock feather coming from the front here.
As we're heading across by this intriguing statue, do I have chance to like give a brief examination of the stone?
Sure. Yeah. For sure. Do you have a thing for it?
Well, yeah, I have my Reason of Old Stone. Page 290.
Okay. While he's doing that, can I'm not sure which, if it's observation or perception, but I just kind of want to get a quick look at the overall demeanor, posture.
Right. Perception would be.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I'm just looking for any sense of hostility.
Yeah.
Well, my dice in front of me.
And I'm basically, with my Reason of Old Stone, I'm trying to determine it's obstacle 6, so I'm not expecting to succeed.
Yep.
It's past events that left their mark on the stone. Because obviously it's
Yep.
chipped and it's broken down, and I'm like,
Yep.
oh,
Something
what
happened.
to
Yep.
it? Yeah, exactly.
Do you have an obstacle for me on that?
It's just one. It's just one for you.
Go for the base. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep. You got it. The guards obviously will mean to protect, but no one's looking to draw swords here.
Got it.
obviously, I
Alright.
didn't succeed at the reason of old stone, but I presume I can mark one of the.
Yeah, challenging.
Cool.
You're gonna have to explain that when it comes up.
Yeah. So, you come to the conclusion that it is just shit stonework. Like they picked the wrong stone for this kind of climate to have it out here in the open. It is there's no violence done to this at all. It's just they picked bad stone.
Pure weathering has just taken
Yeah.
the statue out, basically.
Yeah, so obviously, in my normal sort of like blunt manner, I'm going to tut loudly. I'm like, by my oath, who would choose such low-grade stone to make a statue of this height?
Glarvier, remember.
No wonder it's crumbling to
Glarvier.
dust.
It's humans, remember. They take offense easily to these things.
So Cameron, do you have something to throw off here before we meet the steward here?
So, like I said before, you got to come to the big cities. It's not been maintained.
Yes,
for a
yes, I'm
while.
sure your big cities are lovely and quaint. Yes.
Stone is stone, Cameron.
Please don't get him started. We'll be here for the next 4
I
hours.
could tell you stories about stone.
The stone, yes,
You
the
have
stone.
a
We all
great
know
leg,
about
friend.
the stone.
Well, maybe later.
Yes. Later. Cameron, would you like to take point here?
I mean, you were doing such a wonderful.
I will speak to the prince in the south, but perhaps maybe you should speak to his lackey. You are the same, after all. You know,
Are you
human.
inferring that I'm a lackey?
No, human. With your flat faces and, hairy skin. Kind of like those little forest creatures that jump between trees.
Did you say you were a diplomat? Because I mean, it's not.
In the
Diplomat.
distance, there's a
Yes, indeed. Are you going to go see the man or not?
Our apologies, your stewardship.
and do you approach?
Yeah.
The lot of you. So one of the guards like, the hell is that? And one of the other ones kicks him in the foot, and he was looking at Cameron. Because this Cameron does stand out, as we know.
Yeah.
From having
Does he now?
box eyes.
Oh, I just thought all them looked alike.
No. And the steward shoots a fairly sharp glance at the guard who was, commenting on Cameron, and nods at each of you. The feather waving as he does so, says, "Welcome to Strathfell. Now, who might you be?"
I am Cameron of the Dark Watches.
Mhm.
Here on behalf of them to speak to Barrick, the Lord here, on business that I'd prefer not to speak out in the open, if possible.
As your Lord Steward, I would have thought that you would have known of said invitation.
Should know about coming.
And your name was? Looks at Toriel as you start talking.
You may refer to me as Toriel, if you'd like.
And you?
And I will give a bow, and then I'll say, "Honoured steward, I am Glarvier of the Dwarven Kingdoms, at your service."
Don't bow so low, Glarvier. He's only a steward.
Respect costs nothing, Toriel.
Respect is earned.
It's a very strange group that stands before me, and at a strange hour in the day.
These are
Strange
strange times.
No.
I'll turn around and look at Cameron as we say that and just give him a nod.
No doubt, my friends. And as the loyal watchdog of Lord Barrick, I am given to great suspicion when it comes to bizarre events, such as three friends like you walking into a town like this on business such as yours.
Your prudence does you credit, steward.
I wonder how you might convince me to not have you run out of town on suspicion, for that is indeed, do not mistake, the way of survival in these parts. No ill will against you, but no trust either. I will be frank with my words. I hope you will be too.
Of course, and I take no offence. It is strategically wise in a place like this, situated as you are on the borderlands near the great river, for you to be suspect of those you do not know.
Frankly, steward, and your name again was? I'm sorry.
Ostor. I'll put that in chat.
Yes. Well, frankly, Steward Ostor, if I met your lord ill, then he would be dead already, and you would never have seen me. So, please.
The gate it is then, I presume. He raises an eyebrow and smirks. He has a smirk like poison. Now that you like put down the card of like, oh, I could whoop your ass. It's like, oh, I got you now.
Oh,
I'm gonna.
does he need a demonstration? Is that it?
I'm gonna hold up my gloved hand, and I'll say, if you know anything of my people, Steward Ostor, you will know of the great value that we place on oaths and our word. It is an oath is not mere words to the dwarven kind. It is a sacred promise not to be broken, lest one be disgraced amongst our people. I give you my solemn oath here as one of the oath sworn of the dwarven people, that if no harm is done to us here, then no harm will be meted out, and we will act in accordance with the manner in which we are treated.
I thought that would go without saying, but yes.
I think that sounds like a persuasion thing happening here.
Okay.
Does Glarvier have a persuasion thing?
Oh yeah,
You know it, baby.
that's right.
Glarvier is sort of our face.
My persuasion's
point.
course.
So,
So yeah, I'm making a play for course persuasion because my oath here is basically like, look, if you don't mess with us, we won't mess with you. However, if you do, the unspoken thing is, if you do mess with us,
I will murder everyone.
then, well, I wouldn't go that far, but as I said in the oath, I'm like, we will deal with you as we are dealt with in turn. So it's very implicit that I'm basically saying, look, let's just get our business done. Don't mess, and we don't need to have an issue here.
as a learning method here, let's look for just a moment at Cameron Redwin's sheet again. Roll all the way down to being learned. So that's where Cameron is currently learning the Noble Wise skill. So what's happening there is it's the skill Noble Wise, and then I've put down perception as the ruse, which is the dice pool that Matthew rolls when he rolls this. And then there's aptitude, which is 5 now. And the dots are simply, bookkeeping on how many times Matthew has rolled that. And when Matthew has rolled 5 times, Matthew gets Noble Wise.
That 5 times successfully, or just rolling?
No, just rolling.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Yep. So that's how
I like
that works. And now for the first normal roll of a skill in the game, we have Glarvier rolling Coarse Persuasion, which he can fork other stuff into. Now, forking is a term in Burning Wheel whereby it's a short form of field of related knowledge, but we'll never use that. We'll say forking.
Say fork, yeah.
And you can fork in stuff into your roll if you all include it in the fiction of the game, and if it applies to whatever you're doing. So,
I would
for
like to
example,
fork in intimidation.
I was going to say,
I was going to go with ugly truth because I think you were leaning more towards that than implied violence.
Yeah, ugly truth is fine. Yeah.
now, is there a help feature in this that I can throw in my? Because I would love to learn intimidation at this point. I was being intimidating.
There is.
So if I can put that down,
but you would need to help with a skill that you know.
I
will brush up on all this for next time.
That actually does bring me to a question. I do have a ability. It's an elven spell skill that allows me to do that, I think, but I'm not sure if it's only on my
which one?
It's Rhyme of Rules.
Rules.
Basically, it's the only it's like the spell song, or it allows me to basically do like help actions essentially. I think through my.
I'm gonna look at it.
But I don't think me busting out into song here. Well, maybe it would help here. I don't know. You know. Clearly, I've already teed this guy off a little bit, but that was sort of the point.
Well, that is an actual spell song.
It is. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So you would know that if you engage in one of your spell songs here, you might just stun everyone into wonderment, and which will not necessarily help. It's
we're gonna hold that one in the pipe then. Yeah. Got it.
You know that's an effect that non-elves get.
When they can't handle the power.
It's a situation of like you're stunned by the natural power and the glorious art that is the song.
So then may I propose then, if I would like to assist my friend here in smoothing ruffle feathers that I ruffle for purpose. I do have both the etiquette and fealty wise skills.
Etiquette would be the thing you want to do here. Etiquette is exactly the thing you need.
Yeah. So do I die roll for that?
You don't need to. You basically, if we were around the table, what you would do is you would give one of your dice to John to roll.
Perfect.
For an extra. So
he can take
John,
an extra dice.
Yes.
I would say if you want to include your original idea of intimidation, it sounds to me like we could use coarse persuasion for the roll and fork in ugly truth and intimidation both, if you like.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, but it also whatever we include is also included in the fiction of it. So
yeah, I
basically,
understand.
if you will, I will persuade him, and I will fork in my knife skill. Like there's a very different situation. I will fork in my etiquette.
In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to forgo forking in my intimidation because I don't want to start it off in the obvious look, Lazan, or I'm going to shank you. Yeah. I'm going to fork in ugly truth though, because I'm like, look, we don't want anything breaking out here, but if it does, we're ready for it.
Yeah.
Yep. So can we just get on with business, please?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can click on the die for coarse persuasion, and then I'm gonna still, for one more thing, I will look and see if that is open-ended by nature. Because I don't think it is on your sheet.
Coarse persuasion isn't, though.
Yeah. This is a dwarven specialty, so I never remember which ones those are. So you can click on the die for coarse persuasion, and you can add in one for your ugly truth and one for etiquette from Toriel.
So 2 dice for help, fork, and advantages.
Yep.
Okay. And no other dice. What's the obstacle?
The obstacle is 4, which is the will power of or rather will of.
Okay, and what's the consequence if I fail it?
So the consequence here is that the steward is going to give you the runaround until he is satisfied, and it will take you a couple of days. Like it's not going to be like an insurmountable thing, but he needs to be satisfied.
Well, we'll need to placate him some other way. It might take extra time.
Yeah.
No problem.
He's going to give you the test for days.
Okay, let's see how we get on then.
And murdering him wouldn't expedite that?
Nope.
Oh, yeah. No. Okay. So, oh wow, we're hitting on all the things here.
What type of roll was that?
It calculates it there for you, John, under the name of the skill.
Oh, difficult.
The gray,
okay, cool.
Difficult, yeah.
Lovely.
So for Elf John, Toriel, you also get a thing for your etiquette.
Okay.
Here. So I will I will need to. How does
What do I
that?
get? What do I do?
What's your etiquette skill?
It's 4.
4. Yeah. So you would get a difficult test out of that too. So what that means is you go to your skill list, you find etiquette,
Yep, there.
and then in the 5 empty dot things after the D in the middle of the thing,
Yep.
you add one
Click one.
dot
Got
of
it.
that.
Yep.
So
Okay.
basically what that is you got one of those down now, and your skill advances once you have a couple in each category.
Oh, this is how you. Oh, okay.
And then it goes up by one number, and then you erase the thing and you start
Okay.
again.
See, this I do like.
And so basically you
right.
yeah. So and that is the thing with Burning Wheel as well. It is very beneficial to help people with your stuff because you get advancement too.
I mean, he's my bro anyway.
No, there's that too. Like fictionally, it only makes sense. Yeah, indeed, it's going to be a montage now. So it doesn't happen, but the steward Ostor gets you situated in a backhouse, and it's going to be 2 days of satisfying his inquiries until you get to the Lord. So,
by the way, by this stage, Toriel is fuming at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was already a little annoyed, but
like he wasn't meeting us at the gate.
Very near murdering the steward and just, going about doing it my way. But I'm presuming Glarvier and Cameron appeal to my better nature.
Well, I'm thinking Glarvier will probably be quite resigned to it because obviously Dwarven society is very sort of bureaucratic and very formal, and I'm expecting that things don't really happen with great rapidity in Dwarven society. So for me, when he's like, it's going to take a couple of days or whatever, I'm like, well, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, Toriel has taken personal offense to this because he's a prince and he's being dealt with by an underling instead of being greeted by the prince. Even if the prince just showed up, said that I can't deal with you right now, and put us in a nice house, at least.
Never mind.
He didn't do any of that.
Never mind, Toriel. Look at it. Well, whilst they've got to sort out the necessaries, you will have a couple of days where you can drink some more of that delightful piney mead that they have here, and we can all...
Don't think they have enough mead in the entirety of this burg to soothe my ire. But we certainly can try.
Indeed.
And with those words, we're going to have the time lapse, and we're going to jump straight in to the manor house. So you've been dealing with Steward Ostor's nature. You get the idea that he's a bit of a schemer as well.
Yes.
He not only is very good at being very watchful of individuals, but he's also a little bit conniving.
I had noticed.
Can I, in the sort of 2 days we've had, if at all possible, I would have liked to continue talking to the tavern keeper, and assuming they make their own brews.
Yep.
I would have basically just liked to give them a hand and get a bit involved in that, as a way to pass the time and ingratiate myself to some of the townspeople.
Yeah, no, you can chat up the ale spoke.
And also, if I'm helping them make their beer and their meads and whatever a bit better, hopefully when they do make some better stuff, Toriel will stop moaning about it, or I'll moan a little bit less because they're getting some slightly better stuff.
So, unless Cameron has anything specific to do at this time lapse time, we'll jump on to the Lord Barrick's manor house.
I'd probably be trying to keep a low profile for the moment because, as from that guy's reaction, Ostor, I've been clocked.
Ostor didn't do that. Ostor was he is cool as a cucumber. It was one of the guards who was like,
"Oh, it was the guards."
What the shit?
Yeah,
Ostor was like, "Did I tell you
probably
to
shouldn't
speak?"
wander too much,
Because obviously I'm here on behalf of the Dark Watchers. I don't want to fail by not even getting to see him. So I'm trying to keep on the down low.
You probably get on better with people if every time you introduce yourself, you went I'm here from the Dark Watchers.
So do you go about telling about the Dark Watchers during your 2 days of leisure time?
No, I don't. No, because I don't want to. I don't. I'm more interested in the person in charge here for now,
Yeah.
not the people underneath.
Right. Okay.
He's the one with the information.
So we'll jump. It is evening again, 2 days later, and you are seated in quite the fancy dining hall. And you are seated, the elf on the west side, the dwarf. It's like a long dining table. So at one end, you have Cameron at the head of the table. You have Toriel on the western side and Glarvier on the eastern side.
Being
And
insulted again by my position at the table.
The good Lord Barrick has been, made a place at the other end of the table, the other hand. And yeah, it is. You've watched servants bring in good feast. It's a late autumn. It's the harvest feast, really, is what it is. And yeah, you've seen guards obviously inside here, better equipped, more capable looking. There's the steward. He's skulking about somewhere here. Eventually,
I want to know exactly where Oster is at all times.
just like clocking him every
Like I'm
time.
clocking him the entire. I don't care. Every time he appears, he's getting the eye from me. I don't give a shit anymore.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give the room a Tolkien 360. I want to look and see if I can pick up any kind of indication that Beric's like really big into the Church of the First Flame. Like, is this guy gonna be a problem?
You don't see the symbol anywhere.
Good. That's good.
Question: were we allowed to come into his house under arms, or were we?
Oh yeah.
Clock the
You,
door.
you have all your stuff.
Very good.
That was never
basically shoes. That's all.
like that. That was never a thing they were bothered about. It was all about like what are you planning to do here? It's not so much like, do you have a sword?
What we're planning to do here is none of his goddamn business. So.
If at all possible, as a mark of respect for the lord of this town, given that I've been working with the brewmasters, for want of a better term, to make sort of better brews, if I can have like basically taken like a tiny like barrel of whatever like the best thing is I've been able to help them produce, just which I'll have presented to like the Lord's servant as like a gesture of respect when we went in. It's like a little barrel of like fine ale or whatever the equivalent is.
Okay, so we've got like I brought you this ale as a drink to go with the harvest feast.
Yeah, I'll just say to him, it is a tradition amongst my people when we break bread and share ale with someone of great importance to gift them with a sign of our respect. I'll put this little barrel on the table, sort of like just a bit away from him, so like he can reach out and get it if he wants. He doesn't have to if he doesn't want to.
So you're sitting and dining with Lord Barrick. Now Barrick is an older human. He's got a stark white beard. It is like it's not left to grow wild, but it's not stylized impeccably either. It's sort of like maintained at a semi.
He clearly runs the scissor through it every once in a while.
Yeah, it's clearly not like a priority for him.
It's not a fashion statement.
He's got a fancy, well-made noble's tunic with gold embroidery a little bit on, but otherwise he's not very ostentatious. He does have his it's sort of a tradition among some of the old school nobles in the human lands as well, and clearly here as well. He's got one of those like rather than a crown or whatever, he's got one of those really elaborate. It's not a necklace, really. It's like a large decorative piece of jewelry chain, which has a large emblem there, which has his sort of house symbol in
Yeah,
it.
that might have been common, like with burgomeisters in certain
Yeah,
regions,
yeah.
and things like that. Big
So
chain.
it's the
symbol.
the chain of authority
Sure.
for nobles.
That I'm
So
gonna choke him with.
he carries
What?
that, and that is the most ostentatious thing he has on, and he's a fairly big guy. Sort of looks quite physical for his age, at least, and he's as we jump in, he's been quite reserved. He's given you the appropriate greetings. Curiously enough, he actually does have an idea of how to do that. he's addressed you all by name, welcomed you into the house, to his feast table.
Is he aware? Is he aware of my rank and Glavier's rank? Because
Yes,
in our respective countries, at least, especially, I mean, Glavier is a little bit under the cloud right now, but at least in my country, I'm still doing pretty good for myself. So
yeah, he
I mean, at the very least, his equal should be seen as his equal, if not his superior, because obviously I have on him at least 3 or 4 centuries. So
So he has addressed you all by your proper titles.
Oh, shock!
But it doesn't seem to, like, it's, for him, it's a case of like, welcome, Prince Toriel, to my feast table here in the Borderlands.
Yeah. So he's thinking he has the position of dominance here.
And it's sort of like, he doesn't stress it. You would expect that from the steward, maybe. He doesn't stress it. For him, it's just a statement of fact, like, you're here and you're the prince of a different place. Like, that's how it is for him.
We're here at his request.
Yeah.
So
he digs in to the wild boar that they have. And he's like, there's been some chit chat going on here, and he says, to the business at hand, for I'm told by my rat of a steward that you are very focused. That is good. We will probably need that in the coming days. Didn't really expect to have a prince and one touched by the foxfires and another noble from the mountains, no less.
Well, Lord Barrick, what you said to the Dark Watchers convinced them to lean on every ounce of support they could muster. And if what you say is true, this is indeed a momentous occasion. So, of course, why not a prince of the elves, a noble from the mountains, and one touched by powers beyond your ken to assist you?
I'm very glad for it. Mistake me not. It is
taken seriously.
It is quite the boon. It is quite the boon. Did not expect it, though. I did not expect that I would have but one apprentice shoemaker turn up at my door. And behold, I sit in mighty company that would shadow my poor Strathfell any day.
You do us great credit and honor with your words,
indeed,
Lord Barrick.
At least someone in this wonderful town knows the proper courtesy.
It's not courtesy. Around here, you tend to live with the facts or die. And I handle my land as
pragmatically.
Yes. Call it pragmatism. A different person will call me cruel. There are merchants that call me a fool for letting them get away with the exorbitant prices that they extort from me. But all of these people lack the wisdom of the frontier, even though they make a living out of, which is a mystery that will eternally be unreachable to me. How do you... Never mind my musings.
Well, my lord, it is because of your wisdom that they are able to thrive. That is why you are lord and they are not.
Indeed, it has always been the right of the beggar to mock the king, but at the end of the day, he is still a beggar and the king is still a king.
That is true. Glarvier.
To the matter at hand.
Indeed.
He says, tossing a bone, like a rib bone, on his table and taking a handkerchief and wiping his fingers. He quaffs an entire thing of wine, which he
there's
has
wine,
on
there's
offer.
proper wine.
He has wine on offer. I forgot to mention that.
I'll actually be drinking some of that then.
It is elven fucking wine.
Oh, he's got some from the old country. Okay, there we go. Now we're talking.
And it was maybe a surprise, like maybe because you're not like a vintner, so you don't have the touch for it. But
no,
like,
but I have the taste for it.
No, this wine tastes like, smells pretty good. And then when you taste it, you're like, I see what you fucking did there.
I like to think as he's passing it across to Toriel, like I just sort of like, having caught the smell of it as it goes across and being very schooled in sort of alcoholic beverages, I'll just sort of like catch Toriel's eye and I'll be like, give it a nod, like, yeah, you're probably going to enjoy this one.
Yeah. So as the wine goes around, he fills up his cup again, and he gives a bit of a burp to his fist. And so now that we have broken out the most expensive belonging that I have, potentially, I do hope you appreciate it, Prince, because I do not have another cask for this.
Well, when I return home after we have successfully completed our task, perhaps maybe I shall find some your way.
And indeed,
thank you.
As recompense for this great honour you do us with this, allow me to share some of my most expensive possession with yourself. And basically, my plan is I'm going to take the cups, put like a little bit of that dwarven ale in it, because I know it's like potent stuff to like non-dwarves. Then my plan is to like water it down.
Let it breathe
with like the normal ale,
so
like they can drink it and go, oh yeah, this is good stuff, but they're not going to drink it and be like,
yep. Right, yeah. So you hand him, basically a cup of hard liquor by the end, and yeah, he takes it, sniffs it, nods at you, and says, "Well, I best leave that for when we're going to sleep, I think."
Indeed.
It will put you flat, my lord.
Indeed. I mean no offence, but my own people are accustomed to this. To those who are not, it can be quite potent, but it is the finest drink that I have to offer a respected personage such as yourself.
I see that you match my gesture, and I give my thanks for it, my friend dwarf. And have no fear. I take no offense. I'm quite familiar with my impending doom. It is something you think about when we get to my age. Eventually, a lot of you will discover the joys of mortality.
I'm already fairly familiar with that in my time in the military.
It is
Lord Barrick.
Very sad. I've always found it so when speaking with humans. You're always you come so far in your brief time, and then it all dust in the wind. We sing about it, you know.
Well, I hope it is a tune worth singing. Now, I make trades, which is something you probably were told by any fool on the streets.
We hadn't noticed at all. So that is a joke.
One of the trades
One
of the trades that I seek to make with the Dark Watchers is thus. I have something that you want, and I wish for you to go to a village in my lands called Vorbeck. It's in the chat.
What?
It is at the very northern reaches of my lands from here. It is at the edge of the Weeping Weald, the strong pine forest that stretches on as far as the eye can see. You cannot miss it once you start north. By the edge of the Weeping Weald is a village of Warbeck, and they have neglected to send taxes, grain, any word really, for most of the harvest season. There are no travelers from the north coming to my city here. One of these things, sure. Both of these things, something has gone very wrong.
Have you
Now-
not sent your own men to investigate?
I did,
And
which is why I would now like for you to go and find out what happened to them.
I see.
And I know about the Dark Watchers and what they do. So I pull on this desperate gambit because, well, I think whatever up there ate my men is probably not something that my men will be able to deal with. So now that I have a feast hall filled with the nobility of the old peoples of the land, and who I am told is a rather capable mystic here.
Oh, Kamen is very quite good at all that hocus pocus you humans like to do. Yes.
I hope to all the gods that might be listening that I might have struck the mother lode here. If you go north to Vorbeck, if my men by some miracle are standing about, pillaging, having turned to banditry, bring them back, I will deal with them. If they are dead, I would like to know this. If Warbeck has been raided and pillaged, I would like to know this.
So, if I'm correct, Lord Barrick, in return for the information you possess, you wish us to investigate what the current situation is in this village of Vorbeck.
Yes.
And possibly put us in mortal peril. Well, mortal
Undubitably, that is the case.
being subjective here. My lord, in order for us to willingly throw ourselves into the dragon's maw, as it were, how do we know you have what we seek? How do we know that it is valid? Not to say that we don't trust you, but I have to be honest. After your little rat man gave us the runaround the last couple of days, I'm disinclined to rely solely upon honor and etiquette in a situation such as this.
If you would like to feast with me a couple more days, and that would satisfy you regarding my intentions, that is acceptable. But I do not think, my elven friend, that is what you would like. So, what can I do to make you go along with the deal?
Well,
What?
perhaps you can tell me, at the very least, convince me how you came by the information you claim you have. I don't need to know what you know. That is the price you are dangling in front of us. But I need some reassurance that it's is valid. Surely that's understandable.
How I came about this knowledge is, of course, you will have no way of knowing whether I'm being truthful or not, which
Well,
is
perhaps
him
maybe.
saying that the game, you absolutely can make rolls here, but he's saying.
Let me be the judge of your story and your character, sir, and we shall see.
I talk to travelers from the north. In the north, you will have several sets of shall we say, old pieces of masonry. People tell me things when they come south to trade. Hard people who live in the north.
Well,
And
Lord Barrick, I cannot speak for my companions, but for my people, we place great value on a person's word, particularly someone of character like yourself. If you are willing to swear that you possess this information and you will divulge it to us, should we perform this investigation, that is, as the Lord of Strathfell, that is more than sufficient for myself.
what about you? He gestures to Cameron and Toriel.
Well, I was listening to your story before.
Would you
Glarvier,
accept an oath?
Jumped in here? I don't know. You humans have a strange way of going about your affairs, and protocols and etiquettes here seem to be quite strange and different.
It is not wise to blindly set down your intentions before you find the truth ahead of you.
So, you were saying that you came by this information from wild folk from your northern borders, from ruins of times long gone, well, long gone from your perspective. Is that accurate?
They don't all live in ruins. Some of them do. What I was getting at is there are things that are old in the north, and as such, occasionally something comes up. And sometimes it is treasure. And sometimes people come to me with this information and they make me pay dearly for it. And then I send people to look for it. And if I am successful in my endeavor, I will have accumulated treasure.
You have it here, whatever it is you found.
Well, that would be telling, wouldn't it?
And remember, we did not ask him to tell. We just asked him to convince us that it is real. Now, Wheelmaster, I've obviously been listening to the story, and despite Glavier's declarations and such, interrupting it, what is the measure that I'm taking of Lord Barrick here in his words? Obviously, from the outside, you can tell he's shrewd and being careful and counting his words, all that jazz. But obviously, there's more to it. Things that people can't hide when they're...
You want to get like one layer beneath. So let's go with, I'm going to just say perception here again.
That's fine.
And for Barrick, it's going to be like an opposed thing now.
Sure, yeah. This is like he's trying to hide anything, and
he's trying to do his bit, and you're trying to get beyond it. So
okay,
I'm going to say it's a 4 obstacle.
Okay. Now I have a question.
Yes.
So for my perception, it says a difficult 5 and a challenging 3. That means those are the obstacles that I would have to be hitting in order to mark those boxes.
Let me open your sheet here.
Please, yeah.
So we're looking at perception.
Very high.
So so what that means is, in order to get one more perception, which is all you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to fill in all 5 dots of difficult and 3 dots of challenging.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it.
Yep.
And so then it's difficult to challenging are based on the obstacle.
On the obstacle. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
This
you'll
is
tell me
nothing to you.
Yeah. Okay.
This is not at all challenging.
Sure. Yeah. I see right through people, or I hope.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Yeah. You're much too quick in the mind to actually increase your quickness of the mind with this.
Right. This is yeah, right.
This is not that. You need
He's
to.
not an elf lord trying to do this to me. He's
Yeah.
human. So
Yeah, you need to be contemplating some very cosmic stuff to get ahead.
I need to be like in the mountains with the monks and the elves,
Yep.
like doing some challenging shit.
That is right.
Brain puzzles or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me hit the button here and see what happens. Oh, what's the obstacle? I'm sorry.
4.
4. Okay. Okay.
Exactly on.
Kind of a crummy roll for me, but at least you got it right.
So here's another learning opportunity. So if everyone hovers over the successes for the 4 number, it gives you the results of the individual dice.
Yes.
And as we can see, there's 3 6s there. So now, if you had gotten, let's say, 3 successes and 3 of those dice rolls were 6s, you could have spent your fate, Artha, to re-roll those 3 dice to potentially get more.
So in other words, to explode them. So 3 more dice to roll. Yeah,
when you spend the fate, it explodes all the 6s.
Got it.
And you could have tried and push over the line with that.
So in other words, if this was really important and I didn't like that roll, I could pump
you could try. Oh, let's do it.
Let's go to the mattresses. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
in this case, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you don't need to. You get what you want. So you get his sort of what he's getting at here. He thinks like this is a bargain thing for him. He thinks he's got the actual info that you would benefit from. Like he's not bullshitting from. He's
not lying. He
thinks.
Understanding.
Yeah, he thinks he's got what you are looking for.
Sure.
And also, he thinks it's real bad up north. He is like his whole deal of like, I'm gonna call in this obscure group, which you don't understand why that happened. That might be a different deal you want to look into.
Clearly, this guy's great at making deals and having a web of networks and everything.
Like this guy somehow pulls in this obscure group of people who struggle against the sort of creeping darkness of the world. He pulls you guys in, and he wants you to check out a village on his borders.
Yeah.
Like
so that village must have been like filled with dark spawn,
like
or
he thinks something really bad happened up north, and he really wanted to do something about it that wouldn't result in his town being emptied of all the guards that he sent up north to get killed. So he's like, I'm gonna call in these people. They're gonna look into it for me because they are very capable. That's your read on him at the moment.
I'll rise from my seat. I will take up my goblet of very delicious wine. I will raise my glass to Lord Barrick, like, well, to the cause, and I will drink.
He raises his cup as well.
Indeed, to the cause.
The cause. And he downs his entire thing again of the wine, and then he and Mr. Dwarf, it has been a long time, but I do remember from my youth, we had some dwarven traders stop by. You shall have your oath, for I do respect that. I think I know. He corrects himself. I think I know what it means to you. And I wish to demonstrate my goodwill as much as I am capable, more than the lubrication of this elven wine has perhaps allowed.
He's drunk all the time anyway. It's fine, my lord.
He takes out from his belt what is. Do any of you have hunting?
I have foraging.
Foraging. Okay, you've seen this thing,
sure.
Probably at least. So it's a skinning knife. It's like a gutting. Hunting
I'm sure I've seen one. Then I'm a ranger.
You've seen people use this. It's meant for dealing with the carcass, and he takes it, and he makes a nick on his lips, both like upper and lower lip, and he like just slides it back in. And he like smacks his lips a couple times. They're all bloody now. Like he's slowly, there's like beads of blood like seeping into his beard. And he looks at Glarvier and says, I hereby swear I will give you the information that you seek if you are willing to do what I ask.
At which point I'm gonna basically take out like my little knife, do exactly the same, take like a swig of like my mug, and then say, in which case I swear that by my oath that I will travel to this village of Vorbeck, and I will do my as an honourable dwarven warrior, I will do my utmost to bring you news of whatever has transpired there.
Yes, at first light we shall leave and see to this poor town of Vorbeck. So
You have my gratitude, and once this affair is concluded, we shall be partners in this endeavor.
Very well then, unless my companions have any objections, let us set out at first light come the morning.
To your success on the morrow. He raises up the dwarven drink,
yeah, I raise mine up. I'll raise mine up too as well of the dwarf.
and he puts it down in one.
Yeah, I'll put it down in one too. I've been drinking this stuff for a while now with the Glarvier.
So he chats with you a while, but there's the sort of like slow petering because the night grows on, and you're given quarters at his estate here, and eventually he excuses himself and like gets a servant to like walk him, because he's clearly being swept off his feet by the dwarven stuff. Like he just put down like half a liter of like hard liquor, so it's like
he's going on out.
You'd have probably noticed me when he was down. It'd be like,
but he's
Yeah,
like,
even though I was like,
he's still, like every drink of his, he's just like, give me the next one.
pays to be the Lord.
He'll probably get a respectful nod from me with the fact that he doesn't just like down it and like instantly fall unconscious. I'll be like,
Yeah. No, and as he rises up again, you are quite, like he's an old guy because he's got like straight white beard going, and he's got some like liver patches, and like he looks old for a human, but he has a bit of that, like, dude has like stature. Like when he rises up, like you can see like, damn, like he's opposed to his rat steward Ostor, who's like a thin little man with his feather cap. This guy is kind of like bulky. Like he used to be like a warrior in his youth.
man, dude's got swagger. He's down some dwarven ale. He's got a massive beard. He's sworn an oath. That's more than enough for me.
Yeah, and he gets led away by his servants because he's like, I'm about to fall down, so let's go. So he gets dragged off by his servants eventually, and you're given rooms to sleep in. And because we're getting on a bit here, so we will, I think, wrap it up there, unless someone wants to do something before the night closes.
Okay. So we're all in the same quarter, or are we like all in the same room?
You're given like individual rooms.
Okay.
Each.
So Toriel will immediately round up the other two for a little bit of a quick conference in his room.
Yeah, post-mortem.
Post-mortem. As I close the door behind the last person to come in.
I was going to say, you'll probably find me sort of sat there like looking at the picture I have of my beloved, so getting a bit maudlin because I've been drinking. I'm at that sort of slightly maudlin stage of the night where I'm just sort of like sighing to myself and like tanking back a bit more of the good stuff.
Dry those tears, my friend. Come, we must talk.
These aren't tears. That's just excess moisture from the iron in my beard.
There's nothing wrong with tears, Glarvier. Come.
I don't know what you mean. It's just a bit hot in here.
Cameron, come.
Yeah, no, obviously.
I will come join my.
Now, quickly, I'll close the door behind them and turn and say, "We're not leaving at first light. We're leaving much earlier than that, gentlemen. Our friend.
Well, obviously, I don't care about first light. It's all one to me. But I was thinking of our friend Cameron here. I mean, he can't see quite as well as we can.
Glarvier, focus, my friend. I know you're but I need you to focus. Yes,
Fine,
Oscar,
fine.
the steward, he is not to be trusted. We leave before we said we would so that they cannot prevent us from going on our mission. Something about him stinks, as they say.
I am absolutely fine with that. I would suggest, out of respect for Lord Barrick, that we at least leave word that we have left earlier.
No, that's not how that works.
I would not wish to. I would not wish to deceive the
Gla-
Lord who has
Glovier,
treated us
Glovier,
kindly. I've sworn an oath to him. Have I not?
Glarvier, you've sworn an oath to do the task at hand. You haven't sworn an
Indeed,
oath
and
to
I will.
always tell him everything about what we do.
No, but I will have no truck with
It is called
deception.
tactical discretion.
You can
That's
you can call it what you
beyond-
want, my friend, but it still amounts to a deception.
Glarvier
This
was
is
just
why
like-
we win. That's all I'm going to say, Glarvier. This is why we always win. Let's just say that. Just trust me, my friend. You trust me, yes?
Of course.
Then trust in me. And when I say that we will leave and depart, go order your things together, and we shall depart surreptitiously.
Will it
Don't
not make
worry,
our
we'll make it up to
intentions-
Lord Barrick the next time we're here. Honestly.
Cameron?
I didn't want to get rid of this like massive elf, dwarf
Battle Royale.
philosophical, debate.
Let's call it
But I
a
just
conflict
thought
of
I should point out
philosophies.
that if we leave with our word, it may appear that we are not true in our intent.
No. We've sworn oaths, and he knows that he has what we want. We have to do as he asks, or else we don't get the information that we've come all of this way for. And when I say that we've traveled a long way, me and Glarvier have traveled a very long way.
Indeed.
So, don't worry. Lord Barrick is a shrewd man. He'll understand what we've done. Unless he's more stupid than I peg him for, which I don't think so.
You believe what he says, then he speaks true about.
Oh, I believe that he believes he has what he says he has. Now, whether or not that turns out to be the case is another story, but we still have to have the information. We still have to investigate.
Do.
So,
Well, when we get to the sort of foundations of the matter, Cameron, what it really comes down to is the Dark Watchers have sent us here to get this information, and if we want the information, we need to pay the Lord's price. That is simply what it comes down to. It's a simple transaction.
however, we don't need
We
to
do
get
not
ourselves
know the-
killed going outside the gates of the town.
Quite.
We don't know the true cost of this until we get to Vorbeck.
No. We shall proceed with caution. Trust me, caution is ingrained in the nature of our rangers. So, I'll get us there in one piece. Whether we get out again is another story.
I like the thing when you say we'll proceed with caution. I'm like,
So.
Nope, I got nothing.
Yeah. So if we're preparing to depart and all that, gathering our things and everything like that, Wheelmaster, I would like to attempt something. I know that it's of the nature of this system to learn by doing.
Yes.
So my horse is not here. I need Sudal to come to me. There is a song for that. I do not possess it currently. Let's just say that I'm practicing it. Let's just say
Is that
it's a proper song. Yeah, it's a full
spell song?
Spell song, yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do not remember the
Okay,
specifics of
that's
the training
fine.
of them.
Let's just say that I make an attempt to call Serdal to us as a practice, and we can kind of come back to it at another
Are we
point.
trying to be stealthy and you're going to break into song?
It's going to be very, surreptitious. It'll be on the wind. It'll be like spirits tap
Somehow,
dancing
I
on the
don't
wind.
think
Don't worry about it.
elven songs are what you'd call subtle.
They can be. Cameron, I have some things to show you about the way we do things on our side of the river.
I would assume an elven song is rather like a blade wielded by a person. Whilst part of the subtlety does depend on the blade itself, a large part of it depends on the person who is wielding it and the manner in which they wield it.
An apt analogy.
Yeah.
What did you think of the wine, Glovier?
Oh, it was delicious.
True to Elven homeland.
Not bad at all, let's say.
It wasn't interesting.
So, shall we depart then, post haste?
Very well.
That is your
Okay.
wish.
So you set out, and I suppose we're heading north then.
Indeed.
Okay, so there's the whole thing with you talking to the northern gate guards. It's like, oh, we're heading out. And it's like, the sun just set. You don't head out when the sun just set.
I'd just be like, we're on an urgent mission on behalf of Lord Barrick, so like,
Yeah.
get them gates open.
Yeah, and you're like a shrug of the shoulders, and it's like, sure.
I have sworn an oath on it. Open those
If-
gates.
if you're quick to the grave, sure. And they open the gates for you, and you speed on
That's
into the
another
night.
benefit of doing what we're doing,
Oh,
because we know most of these humans aren't going to want to follow us at night. So there you go.
Yeah, no.
So
not
unless
here.
the steward guy is like Cameron over here, we should be covered at least until the next morning. So,
Mhm.
indeed.
So, I think we'll leave it at that. So you flee into the night towards the edge of this great pine forest that Lord Barrick was
Weeping
talking about, the
Weald.
Weeping Weald. And it's supposed to be Vorbeck that is at the edge of the Weeping Weald. So we'll leave it at that and pick up from there next time.
Thank you
It's a
very
bit
much
of a
for
short
running
one,
it. Very much
but
enjoyed it.
yeah,
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
very good.
Your master.
Right,
get
okay.
the taste in.
That's
And,
it.
Little flavor.
yeah.
Right, I'll stop the
All right.
stream here then.